Hi gang, it's Maria from HockeyTrainingPro.com and UltimateGoalieTraining.com. And this is a continuation of the video that I did on ideas to help you reduce the risk of groin injuries or for goalies. And in the first video I talked a little bit about adding diagonal patterns to your groin stretches. And in that I talked a little bit about the way our muscles are linked, and they're linked through what's called the myofascial system. So muscles have coating around them, almost like a sausage has that sausage casing. Muscles have that as well. And the muscles have to be able to move inside that casing. And so that's part of the reason that we do foam rolling and that type of thing with our training. But then also that fascia is rather congruent from one muscle to the next. So even though we might think of our biceps muscle and then our deltoid muscles, the connective tissue from those muscles is really interlinked. So that's why we don't think so much in terms of training individual muscles or working on individual muscles, but I'm going to encourage you to think about training in some patterns of muscle movement. So here are a couple of strength exercises, and I'm going to maybe talk about ways that you can incorporate some mobility with a little bit of strength, or maybe it would be better to call it dynamic mobility training. But here we go with a few ideas that you can maybe add to your strength training routine. So almost any athlete is going to include some form of squat in their training routine. So maybe that's a front squat or even a split squat. And you can quickly see that one of the troubles here, if that's the only type of squatting I do, neutral stance squatting, is that I'm training my groin muscles in sort of a resting length. I'm not really teaching them to lengthen under tension. And that's one of the keys. Really, most groin injuries happen as that muscle is lengthening under tension. Same thing with hamstring tears in sprinters. It doesn't so much happen when they're shortening, but when they're required to lengthen under tension, that those muscles will go. So it's great to do your squats. It's a fantastic exercise, but you need to add in some lateral movement exercises that are going to teach that muscle to lengthen under tension. So let's say I just grab a pair of dumbbells, and I can hold those up here at my side. I'll take a double hip width stance, and then I'm just going to come out to the side, sitting back in my hips, keeping my chest up. And I want to stack my shoulder, my hip, my knee, and my ankle when I get out to the side. If I look like this, and my knee's way out here, I'm not getting that stack. My stance is a little bit too wide. If my hips are way outside here, then my stance is too narrow. And you want to keep your chest up as you do that. So don't simply fold at your upper body. So that's a squat lateral. I can also do a squat lateral with my foot on a step. And that makes it easier in some ways, because I really can just drop down into a squat. So technically it might be easier for people to get the form right. But having my foot up on the step will put a little bit more stretch on the groin. So now that we've worked on our mobility, we've worked on our mobility with our diagonal pattern, we've done some strengthening, we've worked on lengthening those muscles under tension, we can add a little bit of dynamic stability, I guess, to the exercises. So, for example, I might come into my stretch here and have my partner throw and pass a ball to me so that I'm catching it on those diagonal patterns and coming through. I could do just a chop here to myself. Anytime you add overload, this is just a 2 kilo medicine ball. Start very light. This definitely isn't the time when more is more. This is the time when the less is more. So even if you start doing this yourself, you need to start slowly through that pattern to get a feel for it. It's the kind of thing, if you're on a stretch and you've never done it before and you just ram around, you could really hurt yourself. So you need to start slowly, see what your mobility is like. It's not something that you're trying to do the maximum of everything. So stay very, very light, start very, very slow with a low volume. I would say when you're first starting out, no more than 8 chops in each direction, and I would only build up to maybe 12 at the max. Another dynamic exercise that I like for the groins that includes a medicine ball is a step lateral catch and pass. So again, I would start just doing it myself with my 2-kilo medicine ball. I would step out from the side and then get that nice rotation pattern away. Then I could do it with my partner where they would pass me the ball, so I would catch it and then I would pass it back and release it to them. Then once I've done it at this level, so sort of at hip level or waist level, then I could bring it overhead. So again, doing it myself just with my chop, lateral step, chop, lateral step. Then I could do it with my partner where they would pass the ball into me at about this height. I would catch the ball and come back. Catch the ball and come back. So I hope that gives you a few ideas of ways that you can strength train your groin muscles to help reduce the risk of injury, and then add some dynamic strengthening or dynamic mobility to those movement patterns to, again, teach those muscles to absorb an impulsive force without straining or injuring yourself. Remember to stay very, very light. This is just a 2-kilogram medicine ball. Start slow. Even though they look quite easy, they are very advanced exercises, so you want to make sure you have a great training background under your belt before you try that out. So thanks so much. It's Maria from hockeytrainingpro.com and ultimategoalietraining.com. Hoping you have a great day. Happy training.